Good morning, you beautiful people. It is Monday. I am here to have a little bit of coffee with you and just encourage you. We came off of a big weekend. I was at a conference all weekend, and anytime I come off of a conference or a big training or something like that, I have all of this stuff going around, swirling around in my brain. And I learned a technique a couple of years ago that I want to share with you guys because it literally has changed my life and has helped so much. But before I jump into that, I want to remind you guys that you are powerful beyond measure. I said you, yes, you sitting there, and even if you're dragging and back at work and thinking, this isn't the life that I wanted, guess what? You are powerful beyond measure. You're capable of pretty much anything you set your mind to as long as you're willing to work for it. And a lot of times when you're working on something big to change your life, it feels impossible and like it's never going to happen. But if you keep doing the things that are important, the action items that are important to getting you to where you want to go, it will happen. And then third, you can change your life today. You literally can. You've got to make the choice, but you can do it. Okay, so let's move into what do you do after you attend an incredible training or a conference or something that's been feeding you. And especially as an entrepreneur, we need to do that. We need to go to things that are going to feed us from time to time to just help us become a better version of ourselves. Anytime I attend a conference, like kind of a 3 to 4 day thing, gosh, they're awesome, aren't they? But then I walk away sometimes feeling I could go in a million different directions. And if you're creative like me, it feels like your brain sometimes just wants to explode because there's so much going on in there and so many things that you can do. So let me teach you or help you with something that I do. I use a system called brain dumping, and I learned this through a program that I took a few years ago. And I am so grateful because it's been a massive gift to me. So brain dumps are super basic and they're super easy, and it's a practice that you can actually do weekly. It's something that I do usually on Sundays, but sometimes on Mondays if my Sundays don't go as planned. So this is what it is. Your first step, you can use paper, but I use whiteboards, or actually hot pink boards. I have, I think 5 to 6 of these that are, I like the whiteboards because they're easy. You know, you're not wasting paper and they're just easy. And these ones have magnetic strips on the back. And so I just have a piece of metal in my office and I plop them up there and take them down as I need them. And I've got them based on, categorized based on the different businesses that I have, my ministry, family, all those types of things. So paper, whiteboard, chalkboard, whatever you prefer to use, it doesn't matter. Use whatever medium makes sense for you and what works the best. When I started doing these, I started using paper. A lot of times just use my planner. And then what I found was I really like the idea of having the visual up in my office, having an opportunity to erase and just play around with things as I was moving throughout the week. So I moved into whiteboards. I didn't start in whiteboards. Okay, so the idea behind a brain dump, your first step is, one, you want to have about 15-20 minutes where you're not going to be interrupted, where you're going to have some time to just be with you, yourself, and I, where it's quiet and there's not going to be distractions. Your phone's not going to be going off. You're not going to be looking at Facebook. You're not going to have people coming in and out. So 15-20 minutes. And the first step is literally to take everything that's going on here and get it down on the paper, the whiteboard, the chalkboard, whatever you're working with. The key to this step is that you don't censor yourself in any way, shape, or form, because some of the things that you get down on paper may seem a little bit odd, but the idea is that you want to take all of the information that's swirling around and get it out so that you can start to figure out what makes sense for you to focus on, okay? And if you leave stuff in there because you think this doesn't fit, it's gonna mess up the process. So don't censor yourself at all. Some of the items that come out will seem a little bit odd, but it's okay. And when you first start, or at least when I first started doing this, it was a little bit hard to get into a rhythm, but once you've done it a few times, I promise it will get a lot easier. You're literally just taking all the thoughts, all the information, all the things that are swirling, getting it out of here and down onto something visual. The whiteboard, the paper, the chalkboard, whatever it is. The key, no censoring. Okay, so you're probably going to have a pretty big list. And now the next step is to take that list and start to make some sense of it. Start to categorize it. And once you get into the rhythm of doing this over and over, you're going to find that your categories are pretty consistent. For me, there's always a family bucket. There's always a business bucket, and a couple of them because I run a couple different businesses, and then a ministry bucket, and sometimes some like personal things. So you're going to want to categorize. And if something feels like it's not quite fitting anywhere, just put it in miscellaneous. But for the most part, I think you're going to find that things fall into certain categories. Once you categorize, here's the important step. How many times have you gone to a conference or had this incredible training and you leave there really inspired and fired up, and you have all of these ideas and you're super pumped about them, and then a month goes by and nothing has changed? A lot of times it's because you didn't put things into action. You didn't get an action plan into place. So what we're going to do from the categorizing is prioritize so that we can get the action. Okay, because we know that when you leave something like that, or even on a week-to-week basis, there's a ton of things you could do. But if you're an entrepreneur and you have these big goals, there are certain things that you should do that are going to help you get closer to your goals. And so this piece of the brain dump process is helping you focus on the right things instead of the stuff that maybe you would prefer to do or the noise, okay? So once you've categorized, now you're going to start to frame up what are the most important things for you to do based on the goals that you have. So not just your preferences or the things that you might like to do, but what are the most important things for you to do based on the current goals that you have, and start to list them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. And you may not get to everything, and that's okay. The key here is to make sure that your top 2 to 3 are the ones that are really going to impact you moving closer to reaching the goals that you set for yourself, okay? So to prioritize. And then from the priority, we're going to put an action plan in place. So start to really think about what are the things that you have to, want to, must do this week, and what's it going to look like. Maybe something that you learned is something that you're going to incorporate into your organization and your business on a weekly basis. So what does that look like, and how do you get the process going? You get the idea there, right? So basically you're going from taking everything here, getting it down on your whiteboard, pink board, whatever you choose to use. And these, you guys, I got them at Target, you can get whiteboards nowadays, super inexpensive. And the metal strip is literally from Home Depot, just a basic metal strip. So it's nothing fancy. Everything here onto paper, onto whiteboard, onto chalkboard. Then you're going to categorize. Then you're going to prioritize them, and then you're going to get them into action, okay? Try it. I promise you're going to love it, especially you creatives out there that if you were at the conference with me this weekend, you're probably swirling, just absolutely swirling with ideas, because we learned so much. This works for any type of training. If you're taking a training program, if you hear an awesome speaker, you go to a conference, and it also works just on a weekly basis. This is something we do as a family, helps us to stay organized, helps us to stay focused on the things that are most important and most valuable to us based on what's important to us as a family. So you can do business brain dumps, you can do family brain dumps, you can do, if you have a ministry, anything like that, you can do ministry brain dumps. Key is 20 minutes, set it aside so that you've got some uninterrupted time to really get all of the stuff that's swirling in your brain down, so that then you can really figure out what makes the most sense for me to focus on, okay? I hope that helps you. It was so great seeing so many of you this past weekend. Remember, on this Monday, if you're back at work, I get it. Remember, when I started my journey, I spent about 2 years working, building a business and working my full-time job. I get it. I just want to encourage you and let you know it is totally doable and you can do it. Stay the course. I understand it's hard sometimes, especially coming off an incredible weekend if you have to be back in the office today. But this is your reminder. I want to remind you, I'm speaking to you on the other side of this, that you are powerful beyond measure. You were picked for this, you guys. You can do it, even if other people around you do not understand what the heck you're doing or why you're doing it. You're capable of pretty much anything that you're willing to work for. This is hard work. It's why a lot of people don't end up doing it, because it is hard. It is not easy, but it is so worth it. And you can change your life today by simply making a choice. When I decided to build a business, it was a day just like any other day. And I decided, I knew what my future held if I kept doing the same things that I was doing. And it wasn't a bad future, you guys. It was actually a really great future. But I wanted something different. I had a different vision for my life. And I knew that I had to make a change to get there. And that change started with one simple decision that I was going to make a change. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I have this vision of something so different than where I'm at today, make the decision that today's the day that you're going to start working towards that. The day I decided to do that, I didn't accomplish it. It took me a couple years, but that is okay. All right. I hope you guys have a great Monday. If you're back at work, oh gosh, man, I remember those days, but I am sipping my coffee thinking about you. Have a great week. It is an honor to help